Hello, good afternoon. We are here at the Hit Music Studio starting our Singing Harmony for Beginners workshop. And this is a very, very cool one. So we have Miss Danessa here with us. And one of the things that for us, this has been a work in progress, something that we have wanted to really tackle years ago, because we do believe singing harmonies is a great ability to have for anyone. We were even talking today, I was talking with one of my students, that it is very, very cool, even for musicians as well. So right now, I think a lot of what we're trying to do today is probably going to be mainly geared for singers. But if you're a drummer, if you're a guitar player, I have had many jobs, and probably Ms. Danessa too, that you were almost required to do background vocals, even if you were mostly a musician. So I think that is something that is very, very important to develop, because it's an added benefit to you being a musician. And definitely if you're a singer, one of the cool things about background vocals is that then you don't have to sit out in a song. So Ms. Danessa, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Doing great. How about yourself?
Good. So we are excited. We're going to be talking about how does harmonies work, and what would you say is the basic definition of what harmony is?
Harmony is when you sing or you play two notes simultaneously at the same time.
Okay. And one of the things that is important to understand, and I think for us as a school, singers sometimes tend to want to almost just do the fun stuff. You know, that of course is a generalization, but we want our singers to have proper training. We want our singers to be able to read music. We want our singers to be able to understand music theory. So one of the things that I think for us it's a big effort is to give them these resources. So when someone says, can you do this, you know this, you know this, it is a part of what I guess the tools that they have. One thing that I think is important to mention too, if you are a singer, if you're one of our singers, and some of the concepts and ideas that we're going to be talking today are a little bit like, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that is, don't be nervous, you know, be okay. I think it's one of those things that it's important to almost know that this is part of something that you want to learn, and talk to your teachers about it and be like, you know, in that workshop they were talking about this and I don't know how that works. So let's talk a little bit about one of the basic things. What, Ms. Danessa, what would you say is the first and most important thing that probably young musicians should know in order to be able to do harmonies?
So let's break it down with a simple chord. So the most basic chord that you'll find in music theory will be the C major chord.
Okay.
So
I can probably play it here for you guys. It's C, E, G.
Exactly.
Now, one thing that is important is you need to know your chords. And we are going to put, and by the way, if you register for this course, we're going to send you a PDF and a private page in which you're going to have some resources to practice all this. And in that page, we're going to put a couple things so you can practice chords, which is an important ability to have. So as you were saying, C major?
Yes, so the C note is the root note. So I was going to show you in the piano. It's
Yeah.
There you go. Then we have the third note, which is the letter E. And then our fifth note, which is the letter G. As
now,
singers, they're known as do, mi, and so.
Yes, and one thing, chords are made by stacking notes in thirds. Now, we did a music theory workshop in which we covered a little bit what is a third. Definitely probably check that out. Search our channel, the Hit Music Studio, for Intro to Music Theory, because that will probably be a good important. We're going to try to go quickly on this. But when you're talking about a chord, the notes are not stacked randomly, right? If you take this, that's not a chord. You know, they need to be in thirds. And one thing that is very important is each one of the notes has a function, right? It's almost like each one of the notes has a job in a team, let's say for basketball or for soccer. So what would you say is the function of the root in a chord?
So do you mean like, repeat the question.
Because when you're talking about the function of the notes, it's almost like each one of the notes tends to, for example, the root will be the bottom one, is the one that gives the chord its name,
yes.
Right? And one of the things is like when you harmonize, the roots tend to, depending on what it is, not necessarily color as much what's going on. Now, the next note is very important because it tends to really define the chord, which is the third. So it's almost like the function of that one is very, very strong. And into what I remember from theory, the fifth tends to almost like double a little bit the frequencies, but it's not necessarily as, as critical. One of the things that I think we were talking before we started, and I think I have it here, you want to probably play a little bit of piano. Ms. Danessa, you have been playing piano and doing voice since you started?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that for us is important, I would say, and this is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, what's the importance of a singer to take piano or probably guitar, but mostly piano? Because we have a little bit of singers that are a little bit like, nah, I just want to sing, I don't want to do piano. Like, why do I do piano? Piano is not what I want to do. So what is the benefit of doing piano?
I was one of those students, by the way, and then I learned
really?
hard way. So as a singer, your body is your instrument. So let's say, for example, you think C, this is C, but play me a C. C, C is not the same note. So I wouldn't have been able to know that if I played the piano and then be able to play the note and make sure that it matches with the actual pitch that I gave. So that's a lot of problems that a lot of singers have, is that they think they have the right pitch, but since they have nothing to compare it to, it's kind of hard to base off of just what you think.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. And one thing that for us is important, we don't want to, okay, you have to go buy a piano. But nowadays you have piano apps that are free. So one thing that you can do as a singer is, we're talking about the C major chord, C, E, and G. So one of the main things that I think we're trying to go after is that you need to be able to have a reference point. Because we can even do it now, if this is C, and I go C, so that's my note, let's say we're harmonizing, so I need to stay on this note. But she is gonna do, maybe, which one you wanna do, the third
Let's
first?
do the third.
Okay, so when she sings, she's gonna sing, let's do your note first. Now, when she sings her note, I need to not have her note drag me to her. So it's almost like I need to have my own north and be able to like do this. And I have even told students in our rehearsals, take an iPad and even go like, be able to play it while you're singing. So let's try to do it to see if I can do it. I'm not a singer, by the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, C. Am I doing yours? C.
Yeah.
I did yours. Okay, one more time.
That's a good way to
C.
check.
1, 2, 3, 4. C. So it is very, very useful. And by the way, this, when we put all the content that we're going to give you guys as a page, I was like, I want to practice this because it's something that is not necessarily happens to everyone out of, I have met people that can do it out of true talent, just complete talent. But at the same time, I think it's important to be able to practice. Now, if I do the same note and you do the fifth, C. There's even more added to it, because not only you want to know what's your starting note, but then the notes are gonna move in a specific way. So sometimes the harmony may be, I'm gonna stay in my C while she is doing other things and going up and down, but for the most part, you're moving with each other, right? So if you move up, and we'll do it in a second with a specific song, we move up as well. So one of the things that we wanna truly encourage you guys is to learn your chords, because I think one of the things that you need to know when you're practicing this is, let's say, for example, one of the first songs that we're going to do is Girls Like You, right?
Just like you.
Which, we're both in the same room, but we're trying to do the social distancing thing. So that's a little bit of like, how we're trying to run this workshop today. When you are talking about Girls Like You, the melody starts on?
Girls see.
Okay, so that's a root note. So now, when we're talking about you're a singer and there's not a teacher there, and someone goes like, okay, I want you to harmonize. What would be for you, Ms. Danetza, what would be your first choice? Do you want to harmonize up or you want to harmonize down? So you want to go.
For me, it would go up just because it's more natural.
Okay, and I would say, even from when I used to do a good amount of production, up tends to, I think, embellish things more. Like, you can do below, but I think if you're pressed for time and you have to choose, do up, And one thing that I think is very cool about when you're harmonizing is that you don't have to be a great singer. If you can keep your pitch pretty stable, you can truly get like pretty beautiful things. So it's almost like sometimes people that do background vocals, guitarists, drummers, they may not have the prettiest voice in the band, but the fact that they can harmonize can make a really cool effect when you have 2 or 3 people doing it at the same time. So, Girls Like You, I guess if I can play a little bit and you can sing the lead. Now, one of the things that we wanted to give you guys today is the importance of giving you steps. So what would you say is the first step? Okay, we have a song, we want to practice harmonies. What do we do first?
First thing is learn the lead. If
Okay.
you have issues learning the lead, I recommend you slow down the lead track so
Yeah.
that you can learn all your notes. That's definitely the first step into any songs that you learn.
Okay, and when we're talking about the lead would be the main melody, right?
Exactly.
Out of the song. Now, one thing, when you guys got the PDF, if you registered, in the PDF, we actually put the sheet music. And for us, one thing that is very, very important is to actually check the sheet music and be able to do this with sheet music. Because I think one thing that becomes a little bit more interesting is that you know what you're trying to hit. So it's not like a randomness. Let me see what can I come up with. No, you know you're trying to sing X and Y. So let's play a little bit of the lead first. So I'll play here the chords on piano. So if you want to sing it, I do believe that there's a value to do this slowly. So let's try to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
'Cause girls like you run around with guys like me to sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love funny, yeah. Me too, what I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay, so now there, for example, like if we analyze it, and I think that's another important thing about being a singer, you want to start to know what note you're singing from the chord, because I can tell you here, the beginning you're doing C, D, E. So what is that? That's root, and then the second, and then the third. On the next chord, we're actually going to B, D, E, and that would be the also third, fourth, and fifth. So when you're talking about harmonizing, you don't want to double those notes, right? We want to look for the next note up. What would be the next note up? A note that belongs to the chord, right?
Correct.
So if we have C major, she is starting on C.
On the root.
What will be the next note up?
Girls like you.
Okay, so then the harmony would be.
The third.
So one thing that we find very interesting is like not only the process of finding what is what you're trying to do, but at the same time, how would you practice? So I guess one of the things that, do you feel like speed, what does speed does to this process? Like if you try to do this quickly, what do you think would happen?
You probably won't get as quicker of an outcome that you want to get this done correctly.
Okay.
If you try to do it at the regular speed, you might have a hard time doing it. You definitely want to, again, slow it down and then work your way to the original speed of the song.
Definitely. So there, for example, if I actually play them on piano, it would be this. Right? Because the...
Is it pretty?
Yeah, so because you're doing C, D, E as the melody line, and then the harmony will be. So one thing that is important as a singer, and this is where like the little iPad comes through, and I don't think I can probably, we have actually a track which is part of what the videos that you guys have, but when she sings it, it's almost like, for example, like if I'm gonna sing lead, which I'm not gonna try to do, then when she sings the harmony, I need to hit this note. And actually, let's do this. I'll play it on the piano, but if you can do the harmony.
Okay.
So, you want to try it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put here the piece of paper that we have. So this is a process, and I think it's very cool for you guys to be able to have the sheet music to try it. So let's try it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4.
'Cause girls like you run around with guys like me to sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love funny, yeah. Me too, what I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah.
Now, I would write, if I were you, and Ms. Danessa can give us any other tips that she has, in the lyrics, what would your harmony be, right? So it's almost like in the lyrics, if you're trying to harmonize, and you know that, for example, like girls like you can start putting that, as in this case, E, F, G, because the lead, and you can see it there in the sheet music, in when you're talking about the lead is on those notes, C, D, E, but the harmony would be E, F, G. And I think one thing that is very cool, here we gave you guys in notation, we put it into sheet music because we believe it's a very important thing to actually see what's going on and be able to like analyze it. You can do this a little bit by ear and by trying it. Now, we said that the one that we could do harmonize with the track so they can hear you was the lead, right?
Yeah,
For
the
girls
lead
like you?
as the track.
Okay, so now I'm gonna press play here, and this is actually what you guys are gonna be trying to do. Now, we definitely wanna encourage you, when you use our tracks, use the slow down feature on them. So you're gonna have both that in our private pages, and you also have that on YouTube. Because part of what you want here is the reference of the piano, but really try to, I was telling the other day someone that it's almost like you're in a skateboard, and so there's someone in a skateboard next to you. If that person falls, they cannot take you with them, you know. So it's almost like in the process of practicing this, you need to keep your north. Some people do, and I don't know what your suggestion is. Some people take their ear and I guess try to cover one ear because you can hear internally a little bit more. Do you think like that's a good suggestion to practice this?
It is a good suggestion. Some people don't prefer it. I do prefer it because it does help a lot, especially in the beginning. But at one point, you do want to get into the habit of not doing that at the same time so that you can make sure that if you want to perform harmony, you don't have their one hand covered in the ear.
I even have a little tip on that. If you want to do something similar, use an earplug and just plug one, because it almost does the same thing that you plugging your ear with your finger. And one thing that I think it looks better, you know. So if you're in a rehearsal and you have one earplug, it's a lot more discreet than like getting, you know, like doing that type of thing. But let's try it. So let's try to play this track. So she, of course, can sing the lead. And now she is going to sing the harmony with this. And we'll talk a little bit about one more important thing about harmonies that is pretty critical. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
Girls like you run around with guys like me to sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love funny, yeah. Me do what I want. When I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like.
Awesome. So, by the way, if you're watching this on, I guess, on one of the social media channels, definitely give us a like, leave us a comment saying where you're watching from and what's your instrument. That truly helps, especially some of the social media platforms, show this content to other people. Great, and it sounds really good. Now, one thing that she's doing, because Ms. Danessa is very good at this, is not only singing the note, it's also the releases of the notes and the downbeats, would you say? And it's even one more thing, which is dynamics. You want to talk a little bit about how that's done? Because it's not only in you have people that play horns and play, you know, saxophone, trombone, and all that. When they play with other people, need to really be aware when the cutoff is. And there's usually a person, and I definitely want to have you have your input. There's usually a person that is the lead on the section, so that means that people follow him. So when he cuts off or does this no longer, you try to do the same. What would you say it's a good, at least, framework to keep that in mind for when they're starting?
So breath control is everything, especially if you want to gain dynamics. You don't want to make everything sound the same, because if you do, then the song is just plain out boring if you just keep it all the same way. Also, it's very important. So if you're not singing the lead and you're singing the harmony, you don't want to overpower the melody line, because that's the main line. So you always want to make sure that you're not as loud as the melody line. That's very, very, very important.
Yeah, and mainly, and I would say this, and we have seen this before, and I have seen this with Ms. Danessa's students in a concert. Like, she's really good at, you have to listen. And one of the things is, that sounds simplistic, but it's not. A lot of musicians, especially when they're young, they lose the ability to listen. You're playing, and you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're not really paying attention to the nuances of what everyone else is doing around you. To do background vocals, you have to be sensitive to the other person's volume, to the other person, like almost like vibe, because you want to sound together. So it's almost like you want to sound like a duplicate, and you'll see it there in the video, which I don't know if Danessa saw. We actually put two of her, so you have two of her singing at the same time. But it is interesting, because even when we recorded that, she recorded without hearing the other tape. And still, like, the takes were really matched, because I think of course it comes from experience of doing this. But I would say, when you are a singer and you're practicing this, hearing is really important. It's listening to what's going on around you. Does that note start loud? Does it start soft? What's the intention, the inflection? So all that is, of course, super useful. Any other things that you want to add about Girls Like You, especially to give them an idea how to practice this? You guys are going to have, I believe it's 8 videos, so it's 4 and 4 for each one of the two songs that we did. And the idea is that you have one with just the track, so you can practice the lead or the harmony by yourself. And then one with Miss Danessa singing the lead, one with Miss Danessa singing the harmony, and one with singing both. That way you can get used to like just either or, with her, without her. So it's almost like when you're starting to have problems, maybe just go back to just singing it yourself. Once you feel like, okay, I got this, then put the other one and try to see if it doesn't like, take you off from your skateboard. So any other additional things to Girls Like You tips?
I know that Girls Like You, the chorus is kind of like a tongue twister. So if at first you're having a hard time with just saying all the words and getting the rhythm, try to speak out the song of the lead first. And then afterwards, try to go ahead back and sing the main melody and then work from there.
Okay. So definitely be patient too. And this is a tough one. Record yourself. Right?
Definitely, I can't stress that
yeah, she mentioned that. Now, when you record yourself, you may hate it at the beginning. So I think it's very normal. Like I'll tell you guys a quick story. Like a couple of times when I was in production, every now and then I would work from midnight until 5 o'clock in the morning, because some studios sometimes that's the cheaper time, so they let you work on those times. And a couple of songs I recorded, I felt like, we need a background singer, there's no one here, I'm gonna do it. And I did it, but then I'll listen to it and be like, oh, that's horrible, let me do it again. So I will do it, 25 times until like, okay. And then a couple of people, oh, who's the background vocals? Oh, it's a guy that I know, like, yeah, sounds good, yeah, he did okay. But I think it's sometimes interesting that you can really polish things. You can really polish with a computer, but we want you guys to have the real ability to get on stage, grab a mic, and do this with your teacher. So let's probably move on. I think one of the things that we really wanted to give you guys a framework, and maybe we can cover that in a little bit right now, is the steps. So, and help me out here, Ms. Danessa. I would say first, make sure that you can sing the lead correctly, strongly, clearly, right?
Yes. 100%.
Then work on the harmony by itself, right?
Yes.
And then probably sing the lead with the harmony that we recorded, to make sure that that's not taking you off, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
You're on fire.
because you want to go from what would you say out of all the options, the hardest thing is to sing the harmony.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
and that's the one that most students have trouble. So definitely take it in steps, because it is going to be challenging. And one thing, and I think this is a perfect example of that too, I would write the letters on the PDF.
Yeah.
Write the letters that you're playing, so you know that, okay, this is A, and this is B, and this is the third of this chord, and all that. Because I think it's challenging, but I think it's also going to make you a better musician. So let's talk about Dance Monkey. So on Dance Monkey, how would you say Dance Monkey is different than the other one?
Well, there's a lot of minors.
There's a lot of minors. Okay.
So it definitely is a little bit more of a challenging song to harmonize over Girls Like You, in my opinion.
Okay, and by the way, either correct me, both of them don't have the harmonies that you did, right? Like both original tracks. Girls Like You doesn't have a harmony in the recording,
No,
and neither does Dance Monkey, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which I think is cool to probably practice something that you have that has the harmonies, and probably cool to also make up your own, because that can also be an
There's
added
definitely
thing
more
to
than one harmony that you can make with any song.
Yeah. Okay, so Dance Monkey. So if we can talk about Dance Monkey, we did this in one of the songwriting workshops. You can probably check that on our YouTube channel as well. A lot of thirds. So an F sharp minor, we're starting on A. Then F sharp on the next chord, which is a D major, playing an F sharp with the melody, and then E with a G sharp, also the third. So pretty much on almost every one of these chords, except the last one, you are playing the melody is written based on the thirds. Now, a cool thing about this one too is that you can really see I don't know how they're almost playing with a couple of notes, and you'll see in the harmony how we're gonna move almost like together. So once she starts like doing the harmonies. So I guess you want to sing slowly the lead?
The lead? Yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, whoa. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me,
Good. Okay, so there, when we're talking about the harmony, we're gonna go up. So, Ms. Vanessa, if the note that we're starting is an F sharp, and the note that you're singing as the melody is an A, so F sharp the chord, what would be the next one, your choice for? Okay, now that's the fifth of the chord. So we have an F sharp minor chord, F sharp A, and C sharp. So one more time, they're almost, not always, but it's a really good choice to look for chord tones. You have other things that we're not gonna cover. You can choose other notes that will have almost like a more of a rub, depending on what they are. But a chord tone is, of course, a lot easier, and especially for you guys that are probably starting with disability, check for chord tones. That's why it's important to know your majors and minors and know which ones are the notes that go into it. So, and can we do the harmony?
Yeah.
So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, whoa. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, yeah. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again, all again.
Now, one thing too, and when I was like editing the tracks that we recorded together, pitch is really important. And one thing that is interesting is that's why you should take singing lessons, because part of the thing is like when you have the correct technique and the ability, your pitch is not like a random thing that, oh, sometimes it happens, sometimes it's not. One thing, if you are having troubles, significant troubles with pitch, this can probably help, but at the same time, it's almost like it can get really, really off. So it's almost like, of course, with the help of your teacher, you can see if this is something that you can perform. Now, the idea of this is to have you guys include it into your practice. Once you're ready to perform something harmonized, of course, we want you to go for it. But I definitely think that it's part of, like, I would get almost like your teacher's approval, right? So your teacher can be the one guiding you, or okay, like, yeah, let's do this, let's do this. You can do all sorts of like little exercises during the class, and which I think Ms. Vanessa does, in which you can harmonize when you're doing warm-ups.
Yeah.
So
Really good
that is
exercise,
even
actually.
like a good thing, in which your teacher can be singing a harmony from the warm-up, and that can be something cool. Now, let me pull up the track. So which one you want? The one that has the lead and you sing the harmony, or
Whichever one.
Okay,
Sounds.
and actually let's do this. Can you sing the lead? So now this track is a part of what we're gonna be, I guess, giving you guys through the registration. So you guys have the private page so you can practice. And this is gonna be the harmonies in the track.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, whoa. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, yeah. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again, all again.
Cool. Okay. So awesome. And then we did a little edit there to like, part of what we're trying to do with our tracks is to have twice, so you guys can
yeah.
practice a little bit longer, because they're pretty short. They're like almost under a minute. So actually, let's do the other thing. And to me, of course, this is very impressive. You're looking at a lot of years of work. So you're not looking at like, oh yeah, you know, you take this magic pill and you can do this. No, you have to like learn your stuff.
Yeah.
So now we have a lead and you sing harmony.
Sure.
Is that what we just did?
I just did lead,
Okay,
so now I'm
Harmony.
gonna do harmony.
okay. So let's try this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, whoa. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, yeah. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again.
Cool. So now you can see, I mean, she's definitely a pro at this. It sounds very like almost we have all sorts of technology, and we're using like something to make her voice sound pretty. Not really. We have that microphone. It's a decent microphone, but it's not necessarily something crazy. And we don't have any type of like pitch alteration. Like that's literally what she sounds like. So that's
Thank you.
awesome. Great ability. A great thing to practice. Now, of course, important, and I can even do it here. Use the settings to change the playback speed. Put it in 0 to 75, and actually, let's do it for a second. That same one, a little
2,
bit.
3, 4.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, whoa. I've never seen anybody do the things you do before.
Perfect. So once again, I definitely believe that it's a really important thing to start. You know, there are a lot of things in music that it's cool to know that they exist, because one thing that I think is it's all of us. You know, you may want to have an ability that you don't have. I have a couple of things that I'm working that I'm terrible at, including drawing, for example. But I think it's one of those things that I would love to be able to find a teacher that can show me and watch some videos and get better at it, because I think it's cool to have the goal of like, I'm here now, but I want to be there, you know, in a year or two. And the framework of what we're trying to do with this specific workshop is to give you guys something that you can actually practice, because it's very cool to hear her do it, but we want you guys to be able to do it. So that's part of like what that private page is going to be. When you register, the link for that is going to be in the description of this video, so you can definitely check that out, and that way you can receive the PDF and the private page that we're creating for this. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. By the way, thank you for Lindsay, for Asia. I think we have Mia, we have more people there. Definitely give us a like on the video if you guys like the content, if it was helpful, if you learned something new. I love when I watch a video and it's like, oh, I didn't know that. You know, it's like cool to like feel like today I'm going to sleep knowing something that I didn't know the day before. So definitely let us know if we have any questions. Let me check here if we have any questions on the private chat that we have. Anything that you want to add to the process, to how to practice, how to...
You pretty much nailed it, to be quite honest. Everything that's like, you know, the basic steps to start has been given to you today. So I really hope you guys all take advantage of it.
Yeah, we're gonna create even more content about this because I do believe, and actually I'm curious to experiment with some students that may have some pitch issues, if this can actually be helpful. Because of course, like pitch is something that, would you say like pitch is something that you believe that you can get like significantly better in time if you practice, if you...
Almost definitely.
Okay, so it's almost like, there are some people, and this is something that happens in voice, there's some people that open their mouth and can naturally sing and carry a tune, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there is a lot that you can do if you truly, I don't know, practice at this. And I want to almost probably finish with this. There's a musician that I know, we're talking about singers, and I have hired a lot of singers in my career and have issues with a significant amount, especially when it comes to learning songs, and like there's a lot of wonderful singers. But one thing that we were like both, and when he said this, it was like, well, he said that a lot of singers equate singing to fun only. It's almost like singers, some think that singing should only be fun. Oh, I only sing the songs that I like. I only sing the songs that are my favorite. That song I don't like it, so I don't want to do it. And that song is hard for me, I don't want to practice, so like, you know, let's take it off the repertoire. That is not necessarily how it would work, especially in the music industry. And I wouldn't say necessarily, a lot of you guys may do music for fun, which is good, but get into the framework that you can take challenges, you know, because I think all of us at a church, at a school, someone may come and be like, you know, can you play this? In a week we're doing this. I mean, we have even like been on national TV multiple times recently, and it's an opportunity that, you know, when we came our way, I was very like, I have no idea how we're gonna do this. But it's one of those things that you accept the challenge and you try to find your way and perfect the process. But I do think that our singers hopefully can get the message that working on your ability past just a karaoke track, you know, 5 minutes before your class, should entail a little bit of work. It will pay off. You will become a better singer. And I think it's absolutely awesome to invest into music. One of the coolest things about music is that music, to me, it's a mirror that it reflects everything back to you. So do you put a ton of energy, you're going to get that energy back. So any closing ideas? Any final advice for our singers to get good at harmonies? I have one last one, but I want you to go first.
There's people who have a cappella groups that are more than one harmony, so they do like 4 people at a time. Yeah. So those are really cool if you ever just want to check them out, and it's something that you can definitely do as a singer if you learn how to start off with the basics of the harmonies. Yes. And a secret weapon about harmonies, practice ear training. The more that you do ear training, the more that you're going to be able to harmonize, because you can be like, oh, that's a 4th, oh, that's a 5th, oh, this note is this. So a huge part of being able to sing this type of stuff that is a little more challenging is ear training. So we'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if we have any questions there.
Someone says, Miss Vanessa, can we practice harmonizing through our next class?
Who's this?
It says Nash. I think it's last name.
Alexandra Nash.
Alexandra Nash. Thank you
I
for
know
watching,
you.
Alexandra. And of course, right, would you say you want to do it in your next class?
Yeah, she's actually really good. She's one of those people that we call naturals.
Yeah. And one thing, we created the videos so you guys can do, even in remote lessons, this can be a part of your practice. So you can get these videos and you can do it during the class. So, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Definitely give us a like. Let us know what's your instrument and your age on the comments. We'll keep bringing content like this for our students and for anyone out there that wants to learn some music in the cool way, in a fast way, and hopefully in an easy way. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.